Alright, so it's very, very late at night and I'm very tired. I'm in my office. I just finished working. But there's a video and a question that I truly need to answer that I feel like if I just go to bed right now, I will not be able to sleep just because I didn't make the video and I didn't answer to the question. So, why does God allow suffering? Why does God allow pain? Why does God allow all of those bad things that happen, right? Like the wars and kids dying because of hunger and all of those things. And back when I wasn't a Christian, like I wasn't raised Christian, but the only time where I heard about God was when my father told me once before going to bed, he was like, God bless you, right? And my father wasn't a Christian, and I never heard about God. I told him like that, like there's no God. He was like, yes, son, there is a God. And it's pretty funny he said that because I never really saw my father like going to church or opening his Bible or none of those things, right? So a couple months later, he gets pretty sick. Okay, we immigrated from Spain to Canada. My father's in the hospital. We don't know whether he's gonna live or die. And I remember being like, if there was a God, right? Why will he do this right now? Why will he have to, put my mother through suffering, put me through suffering, put my little sister through suffering? Because my parents were working at a CrossFit gym for like $15 an hour, right? I remember the first few apartments, they weren't the best, right? My mother, sometimes she will watch me and my sister eat just to see if there will be like, a couple pieces left so she could eat, right? I never lacked any food, thanks God, because my mother and my father are very hardworking. But at the time I was like, if there's any God, like there's just no way. Like, why will he allow all of this, right? And then once again, I think it was 10 years later, I set my whole entire life towards one goal, one simple goal: becoming world champion. And I had already finished third in the world in weightlifting, and I was prepared for that championship, man. I was locked in, all of those things. After the championship, my back gets a crazy amount of pain, the night before. My wrist, they were locked. Like I couldn't move I could genuinely not do this with my wrist. We're so inflamed. Came to the competition, 2 out of 6. Not that I did not finish first. I did not finish second. I did not even take a medal. 5th. And I went to the beach and I was like, God, why? Why me? I sacrificed everything for this. Why? Why does it have to be me? And that's the first time I heard the voice of God. I was like, if there's a God, please talk to me. And I was just crying and crying and crying. And I heard his voice. It was the voice of Jesus. And he told me that if I truly gave my life to him, that if I truly followed him, he would take care of it all, right? And I went on to lose my weightlifting career for over 9 months after that encounter. I went on to drop out of school and so develop a very bad relationship with my family, lost all of my friends. I lost it all. And once again, I was 6 months, 7 months into Christianity. And I was like, why, God? Why? And one day, I'm scrolling on my bed, super depressed, just hanged out with a woman, and I'm on YouTube. And I see this guy on a reel, and he says, cold does not exist. It's simply a lack of heat. It's the same exact thing with God. Evil does not exist. It's simply a lack of God. And that, man, I was like this with my phone, put it down, and I just started crying because it all freaking clicked. It all clicked. My whole entire perspective on the world changed. Maybe all of those things that are happening in my life are for a testimony that I will share to millions of people, right? And there's no testimony without a test, right? That's why I'm losing it all. Maybe why my father got sick was going to fuel me to building my business and truly retiring my mother, because that was the first times I had visions of wealth and vision of taking care of my mom, because I saw her working so hard. And it all clicked. It all clicked, man. And I never again asked God, why do you allow this to happen? Why do you? Because there's always a bigger purpose that we can simply not understand. And a couple years ago, I lost someone that I truly loved. And it was, one of my girlfriends that I was with for like a year and a half. And we were falling into loss and all those things. And then at the end of the relationship, I became a Christian. And I was feeling very bad about having sex outside of marriage and all the bad things we were doing. And God removed her from my life. She didn't break up with me. I didn't break up with her. It was just life circumstances. And I truly believe it was God. Because after that, I went on building a $25,000 per month business. I went on to become one of the best lifters on earth. And being on my way to qualify for the LA 2028 Olympic Games, paying rent for my parents, all of those things. So God truly changed my life through suffering and struggle, right? Now, I'm not saying that, all of that suffering and struggle came from God. A lot of it came from my stupidity. And it came from, my bad decisions, right? But God, in some way, shape, or form, I'm 100% convinced He allowed that to happen for a reason. Because I learned more from all the suffering, pain, and bad things that happened in my life than from the good things. Pretty much 99% of things that I know, it comes from having suffered, from having had, very hard times. There's a lot of things, I'm pretty sure, in your life where at the moment you didn't understand, but afterwards you were like, oh, it happened for a better good. It happened for a reason, right? And it's because everything happens for a reason. Even suffering, pain, all of those things. You think that God wants all of those wars? You think God wants children to suffer? No. But who causes all of those wars? Is men who don't follow God. Because if you follow God, how are you gonna hurt children and women and all of those things? How are you gonna do that? Right? It's all people who don't follow God. And now, why will God allow that, you might ask me, if God exists? Because there's no love without free will. Imagine if you take a gun and you point it at your, wife's head. And you're like, you cannot leave me, you need to love me, right? And you're all day pointing the gun at her head. Is that love or is that obligation? It's obligation. There's no love in there. It's the same exact thing with God. He loves you so much that He gives you free will. You want to go do that? Go ahead. You'll handle the consequences. You want to do good? You want to follow my word? Awesome. You'll receive the rewards. Right? And so God allows you to have free will because there's no love without free will. There's truly none. And so thank God for your free will. Thank God for the suffering and pain and all the mistakes you made. And extract lessons from those, bad experiences that are soon going to become good experiences. Because here's the thing. There's no such thing as bad once you learn from the bad. The bad becomes good once you extract lessons from the bad. God bless you guys. And if you have any questions or have any comments on what I just talked about, drop it in the comments or shoot me a message on Instagram. See you guys on the next one. God bless you.